What a beautiful day for baseball. Sunshine everywhere in Chicagoland. It's Game 7 of the homestand, the finale, as the Sox host the Texas Rangers out of the AL West. We wish you a good Sunday afternoon. Jason Benetti, Steve Stone along with you. The Sox going for their first 3-game sweep of the Rangers at home since 2012. And if they do it, they might get some offense from Tyler Saladino.
Despite hitting just .222, Tyler has hit the occasional home run. In fact, against Garrett Richards, one of the better pitchers around, he took a high fastball and hit it out of the ballpark. Sox have done a whole lot of that in this homestand. 7 home runs in 6 games. Melky Cabrera against Jared Weaver joined the party. Then Todd Frazier. He's homer to left, he's homer to right. He almost ended a ball game here just yesterday with a ball that looked like it was going out of the yard, but didn't. So take a look at what's happened on this homestand. 4 wins, that's tied for first. The ERA at 2.09. That is in first, and home runs 7 this week. That's second in the AL. So things going pretty well, and the defense has been there.
Here's how good the Sox pitching staff has been. The 4th starter on this team, Matt Latos, has an ERA of .49, second best in the AL.
Matt Latos is doing just about everything right. In fact, the added splitter has done just a great job. He's getting these guys to swing at a lot of pitches out of the zone. And by doing that, he has certainly gotten a microscopic ERA. So Matt Latos at 3-0. You take a look at what happened last time out, 6 1/3. He was brilliant, just 2 hits, no runs. Derek Holland, who goes to the mound, had an injury-plagued last couple of years. This year, entirely healthy. He's been out of the bullpen a couple of times. His ERA up close to 8. Hopefully today, Matt can continue the magic, and if he can, the Sox can sweep. And by the way, the rarefied air of first place smells awfully good.
Doesn't it, though?
It does.
12 wins, most in the American League for the Sox. It's the Texas Rangers trying to spoil it. And we throw first pitch next.
Brought to you in part by Toyota. Discover more in a Toyota. Visit buyatoyota.com or your local Toyota dealer today. Let's go places. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois. Through it all. Audi. Truth in engineering. And by Xfinity. Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience TV.
What a day in Chicago. Beautiful sunshine as we are ready for Game 3 of a 3-game set between the Sox and the Texas Rangers. Different lineup today for Jeff Bannister, the second-year manager for Texas. Rougned Odor at the top of the card after 2 days of Delino DeShields as the leadoff hitter. There's the lineup. Odor, number 1, then Nomar Mazara. Well, we'll tell you about the lineup. Mazara, then Adrian Beltre at third. Fritz Fielder, DHs. Ian Desmond at center. Mitch Moreland at first. Elvis Andrews, the shortstop. Ryan Rua in left. And Brett Nicholas is the catcher, Steve Stone.
And let's take a look at the defense and how Robin is going to line them up this afternoon. Melky Cabrera, Austin Jackson, and Adam Eaton in the outfield with Todd Frazier. Tyler Saladino, Brett Lawrie, who made a great play yesterday behind his back. Jose Abreu at first base. He came through with the game-winning hit. Deanna Navarro behind the plate. He has become, at least for the moment, the personal catcher of the man you're looking at, our Lexus pursuing perfection starting pitcher Matt Latos. 3-0, .49 his ERA. Only 6 hits in 18 and a third innings. Only given up 1 run. And when you look at a bias, left or right-handers, well, neither have hit him. Plus, he hasn't allowed a home run till, well, back to last August. Now, that's really going to be put to the test today because it's a lively ballpark as David Rackley behind the plate, the crew chief Larry Vanover at first, Alfonso Marquez at second, Chris Guccione at third. We're ready to play baseball, and Jason, take it away.
Hey, thanks, Steve. How come you got the defense, but I didn't get my lineups? I think the crew has turned on me.
Well, it's just one of those things that, you're paying the price of being a guy who is in the infancy stages of what will be very long and glorious career. But at this point, you have to do the lineup without any visual aids.
Today's pop quiz presented by, what a day, by the way.
Well, compared to last night when it was kind of tough to get up out of our seats after the game because it was a touch chilly. Gorgeous day today. Very good chance it's going to reach 80 degrees around the Chicagoland area. And let's see if the Sox can finish up a fine homestand with a sweep of these Rangers.
Texas came in first place at 10-6, now at 10-8 in a dead heat with Oakland. As Matt Latos throws a first pitch outside of ball number 1. That last home run that Matt Latos gave up that you were talking about actually came off the bat of this guy, Rougned Odor, for the Texas Rangers.
The one and only time he's ever faced Matt.
Wheels up time today was 1:11 p.m. here at U.S. Cellular Field. Ball and a strike from Latos to Odor, who's hitting exactly .250 against both righties and lefties this season. Remember Matt's last start? It was during this homestand. He walked 2 in the first inning. 2 out, 2 were on. He walked Mike Trout. He walked Albert Pujols. Then got a ground out from Cole Calhoun, and he was off and rolling once again in his 3rd start as a White Sox pitcher.
Odor's got some surprising power. The Rangers believe that this natural left-hand hitter eventually is going to hit upwards of 25 or 30 home runs a year. He can also hit it about as far as anybody on the team, along with Mitch Moreland, who has great power also.
Two and two. Well, we told you in the open, Matt Latos has the 2nd best ERA in the American League. Those are some pretty big names. Jordan Zimmerman still 19 1/3 without an earned run allowed this year for the Tigers.
How about the newcomer, Kenta Maeda? First 4 starts, nobody's ever done better than he's done in the history of this game.
Deanna Navarro holds on, and strikeout number 1 for Latos.
Odor thought that ball hit the ground because he's staying around home plate. The ball never hit the ground. Jeff Bannister is coming out. The last thing you want to do is make an appeal this early. What he's saying is, look, somebody had a better look, perhaps that man at third. What David Rackley is telling him is, well, I had a real good look and it didn't hit the ground. Take another look at it. Good curveball, low and in. He catches it. He doesn't trap it. And out of the many Krug negs around, this one starts the game with a strikeout.
And you'll recall, by the way, that Jeff Bannister used his challenge 2 days ago in the first inning on a caught stealing, lost his challenge, didn't have one for the remainder of the game. The AL manager of the year last year. And, you know, if you lose your challenge, you don't get it back. If you get it right, you keep getting it until you get one wrong. Nomar Mazara, 20-year-old, takes the first pitch outside, ball one.
Although most of the time in the minor leagues, they shifted against Mazara. Sox are really not shifting all that radically against him. We did see him get a base hit to left center in yesterday's game.
Mazara drills it. This is way out of here.
Well, unfortunately, we talked about that home run streak being put to the test today against a team that can hit a whole lot of them. That's the second of the year, the sixth driven in. And the rookie, and you can understand why they really like him, just put a charge into that one. This a no-doubter. Ford home run replay, and he gets one. It's on the inner third of the plate and unloads.
So the ERA grows from .49 for Latos. Second career home run for Mazara. The first came off of Jared Weaver back on the 10th 2 weeks ago. Adrian Beltre, who has 3 hits in the series, all singles. I will see how Latos reacts to an early run against him. Matt Latos, one of 2 pitchers in White Sox history now to win each of his first 3 starts in a season while allowing 1 or no runs. The first one being Nick Altrock in 1906, whose career war was World War I.
So that disrupted what otherwise would have been a sparkling career?
Oh, it was a sparkling career nonetheless.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with Frank Indie Rock or Joe Classic Rock. This is Nick Altrock, who started Game 1 of the World Series in his heyday.
Ed Latos is going to find out that on a day like today in this ballpark, you've got to throw ground balls.
Or just strikeouts. 2 down
Strikeouts
in the first inning.
Certainly. But get the ball in the air with the wind blowing, very much a factor here today. That could very well have been that splitter that's worked so very well, and Beltre over the top. So Adrian, who signed a 2-year extension, so 2 years after this year, goes down on strikes. He doesn't strike out very much. That's just the 6th strikeout in 70 at-bats.
Fielder, who doesn't get cheated very much at the plate, strike 1. Prince slugging .290, a slow start to the year, hitting .188.
That home run, by the way, interrupted a streak of 9 straight scoreless innings, or 9 innings without giving up an earned run. Matt Latos, 31 2/3 without giving up an earned run. Everything he's been doing, starting from about 2 months of last year's season into this year's season, has been spectacular. As Matt Albers has been, well, if not unhittable, pretty close to it.
The Mats
is right.
have pitched very well for the Sox this year. 1 MAT, 1 MATT. Higher than high fastball, 2-2 on Prince Fielder.
Pretty good spot right here is low and in. Fielder will be thinking about the lively ballpark because he is very powerful. You might get him swinging over the top of one.
2-2. Second base, bobbled. Safe. The call over at first. I don't know, Steve. They might have gotten him.
Jose is looking into the dugout. I think Jose wants him to take another look at it as this ball bounces up. Saladino pounces on it, gets it over there. And again, this is a difficult challenge to make in the first inning, especially with 2 out. I think because he was safe on the field, I think pretty much it's going to be very difficult to see definitive proof on that one. So I agree with Robin. Let it go and try to get him out.
Rare error for Saladino. And into center field for Ian Desmond, who has been quite a thorn the last 2 days. Reaching base now 5 times his last 6 trips.
The only thing I'm surprised about with Ian Desmond is not that he has power, not that he's a pretty decent hitter. Although he started off slowly, but he did hit a home run in this series. But I'm surprised that it took major league teams that long to sign him. Now, a lot of them didn't need a shortstop, and they felt that was the only position Desmond could play. Texas Rangers have shown otherwise because he's played a better than adequate left field. He's only missed 1 play in left field. And as we see in this series, he can be pesky offensively.
My goodness, 3 straight walks yesterday after a homer in the 2nd inning. Litos to the lefty Mitch Moreland, who is 0 for 8 despite just thrashing a couple of baseballs the last 2 days.
I think if the Sox look out at this lineup, which has been held in check by some excellent pitching, realize what kind of a day it is today, much warmer with the wind swirling and mostly blowing out, they realize this is a day the offense better come to life.
Could have gotten it, didn't. 1-1. Well, the offense yesterday for the Sox left 13 on, scored 4. There were chances, abundant chances to put up a big number. And, you know, it's funny, the Sox come into this game, I mean, not funny to some, but 28th in batting average in Major League Baseball at .224, and they are 12-6, but the most wins in the American League.
Once again, yesterday scoring late runs. They scored 3 from the 8th inning on yesterday.
Big swing from Moreland. Litos kept it low out of the zone. 2-2.
In spring training, Mike Scioscia, maybe to prove a point, maybe to get in Mitch Moreland's head, but he actually played every one of his infielders between first and second, begging him, hey, look, if you're going to hit the ball to the left side, we'll give you a base hit. Just hit the ball to the left side. Moreland couldn't do it, but he didn't repeat it in the regular season.
A little fun in the spring.
Sure.
2-2 from Litos. Moreland, one of 6 players in this lineup to previously face Litos in the majors. The only 3 who have not are Mazzara, Rua, and Nicholas. What a view out there. 2-2. Fouled off his body.
He had him well out in front of it. Unfortunately, probably up a little higher for a slow curveball than you would have wanted. If this ball is down, especially down and out of the zone, he's going to get him. Fans today enjoying a sun-splashed afternoon. It's 72 degrees. Couldn't ask for anything better.
Brett Laurie The error does no harm other than a couple of extra pitches for Matt Latos. 1-0 Rangers, though, on the Mazzara homer. Two spot last we saw him there. He hit a first inning home run. Abreu, Frazier, Cabrera, then Brett Laurie, Jerry Sands, Deoner Navarro, who's got a new backup catcher behind him. We'll tell you about that later. And Austin Jackson in the 9 spots, Tony.
Let's take a look at the defense and how Jeff Bannister's going to line them up. It's Ruitt, Desmond, and Mazzara in the outfield with Beltre, Andrews, Odor, and Moreland in the infield. Brett Nicholas behind the plate. And our Lexus Pursuing Perfection starting pitcher is Derek Holland. 2-0 this year, fine, 2.70 ERA.
And he feeds over strike one to Adam Eaton, who's 3 for 9 in this series against the Rangers. He's got a run and a double. His on-base percentage, .356 through 18 games for the Sox. With a brief hiatus away from the team for the birth of his son, Braden, Adam Eaton, first-time dad.
Very exciting. And so is the start that Adam's gotten off to, and the defensive work in right field, which has been stellar.
And talking about him defensively as well, people may forget he's had shoulder surgery he's coming back from.
And really, the throws have been 100%. He's hit .381 against left-handers, so this for him should be a pretty decent matchup.
Well hit. Odor throws him out. Tell you about our picks to click today. The crew has decided today on Austin Jackson. Steve in the lead goes Saladino, and I've taken Brett Laurie today.
I have pledged each and every day if Tyler Saladino is in the lineup, I will take him as my pick to click unless he starts to scuffle, and then I will drop him like a hot potato. No, I will pick him every day he's in the lineup.
Credit to a couple fans, by the way. Before I even asked for picks to click, I had 2 for Brett Laurie, basically within a couple minutes of each other, I think. So we're gonna go with the early risers today, and Laurie.
Laurie's off to a good start at 286, and Saladino in this at bat off to a good start because he's 2-0, very much a hitter's count.
Right field side, Mazzara.
Sox have always done well against Holland in that his ERA is up close to 8. The last couple of years he's had different problems that have really made it difficult for him. One was a leg problem. He fell over his dog. His dog was named Wrigley. Insert your joke here. And then he had to have knee surgery, which obviously set him back somewhat. than last year, some more problems. This year he's entirely healthy.
That was a subscapular strain in his left shoulder last year, which is below the scapula, I'm told.
It would be probably uber scapula if it was above it.
Boning up on your Nietzsche. Abreu, first base side, and foul ball, 1-1 to Jose, who had the walk-off winner yesterday.
And Texas really caught yet another bad break, and it is related to health, as Cole Hamels is going to miss his start, which was scheduled against the Yankees. He's got a groin problem which has been recurring. So they're going to push him back. They're hoping it's only one start. They don't really know at this point, but the very talented left-hander has some physical difficulties.
As the wind picks up, Abreu takes inside, 2 balls and a strike.
It could very well be that that game-winning base hit in yesterday's game will turn around Jose, and he'll start to really crush the baseball.
2-1. Abreu, right center field. Mazzara. 1-2-3 inning for Derek Holland after 1. The Rangers on the strength of a homer by a run.
Coverage begins at 3:30 on CSN with the Spanish language simulcast available on CSN Plus.
Again, you get the music behind yours.
I do. I request the music. Everybody has walk-up music. I have promo music.
Ah. That's a nice hat, by the way. We need one of those hats for the prize shelf.
The problem is, and you are doing the 3 games in Toronto, it's going to be difficult to take the prize shelf with us and get it through customs.
We'll have to declare it.
Especially the signed Altoid box, because you never quite know what's in there.
We are hoping mints. Ball 1 to Andrews, who's had a great start to the season. 321 on base, 355. 2-0 from Latos.
You also talk about the fact that Andrews will and does bunt frequently, but he also is eyeing the lively ballpark today, and he will air it out on his most swings.
As he does there, Austin Jackson driven back, still going, out number 1. Well, the Sox have made a roster move, a rare one, early this season. Alex Avila strained his hamstring yesterday running the bases, so Kevin Smith is up for his Major League debut from AAA Charlotte, where he was 10 for 29 despite blurry International League pitching.
That's the problem with hitting in the minor leagues. It doesn't look the same as the major leagues, probably the lights. But Kevin Smith is awfully strong. He's a big man at 6'4", well in excess of 200 pounds. And he will be here as long as Alex is on the DL. Hopefully it won't be very long because they were having just a great run at it, not offensively behind the plate, but their contributions really rose above the offensive aspect. They both caught very well and threw very well.
Kevin Smith was playing for a Charlotte team that got no hit yesterday by the Toledo Mud Hens and Klinger.
I remember Klinger. He was a big fan of the Hens.
He could cross you up. Second base, Brett Lawrie flops on it, gets it away from his knees, 2 down.
After a highlight reel shot yesterday, he takes this one to the other side, going to his left. This a one-hopper. Rua bidding for a base hit, only to come up short. And Brett Lawrie continues what has been a fine defensive run for this ball club. Gets him by a step at first.
We were talking about Adam Eaton's defense. He still is tied for the league lead in defensive runs saved with 7 of them. That stat that tells you how much better than the average defender somebody would be, how many runs you're keeping off the board for your team. That's at 7 through 18 games for Adam Eaton.
Been pretty impressive so far, as has the start of Brett Nicholas,
who is 4 out of 14 in his first major league season.
A lot of injuries have befallen this Ranger team. Their #1 catcher, and you mentioned him before, Robinson Chirinos. I mean, that's a big loss for them.
Strike 1, 2-1 on Nicholas.
You mentioned that he fractured his arm swinging at a pitch.
Yeah, on a swing.
Wow.
Two and two. It was a swing against Garrett Richards. He stayed in the game. Hit a fly out near the warning track. This is Chirinos, who's injured. Nicholas up for him. Then he left the game after that at bat. 10 to 12 weeks, they say.
Nicholas played collegiately at Scottsdale Community College, Gonzaga, and University of Missouri.
You ever been to Spokane, Washington, where Gonzaga is?
I have not, but I have been very close to where Scottsdale Community College is, and always admired the nickname the Artichokes.
For somebody who generally does not eat vegetables, I'm surprised that you have admiration for anything relating to an artichoke.
Well, that's true.
Fly ball right center. Jackson is over. 1-2-3 inning for Matt Latos. 1-0 Rangers after 1.5. On CSNChicago.com, presented by The Great Escape. Pools, patio furniture, hot tubs, and more. Escape your everyday. Shop The Great Escape. I'm told Dan Hayes is actually sitting at home in his hot tub watching this game today. He's not at the ballpark. You know, we're asking whether or not he was okay because he hadn't tweeted for a while the other day. I did get a message from him saying that he is fine, so that's good news. Dan is all right.
Just nursing a couple of sore fingers.
Yeah, ego contusion, day to day. Todd Frazier against Derek Holland. And a hook for a strike.
The outfield very deep all the way around. That's kind of surprising because where they're playing right now, if it goes over their heads, it's going out of the park. That usually is reserved for the no double set later in the game. So lots of room to loop one in. You can just ease it over the head of the infield.
We were talking the other day about Frazier mentioning in passing that he thought Jared Weaver in his start in the Angels series may have helped Todd moving forward.
When I talked with him before the game, what he said was that because he had to wait back because he knew Weaver would throw so many off-speed pitches, it gave him an idea of waiting longer and taking the ball to right field.
Pull side this time in the air. Beltre and Nicholas. Adrian Beltre has to fade.
He caught it.
Yes, he did.
Well, that's an amazing third baseman. He caught it in the webbing of the glove, now trying to pry it out of there, but he did what you have to do. You locate where the fence is. You can see him with the right hand putting it out. He knows how close he is, and then the backhand put away. So pitchers really love when their fielders go above and beyond. This was a very good play. Almost went through the glove.
Who was that ducking out of the way in the Sox dugout?
That's
Jose Quintana.
And that's a wise choice rather than headbutting Adrian Beltre.
Not the guy you want to go head-to-head with. One out for Melky Cabrera. That is strike one to Melky, who's had a wonderful series. 5 for 8. A double, a homer, 4 runs scored.
Holland has decided he was going to throw his curveball with more velocity. Last couple of years, he was throwing it 72 to 74, finding that it wasn't breaking as he wanted. Now he's throwing it anywhere from 77 to 80. And that's good if you get the same rotation. Velocity for velocity's sake doesn't help a curveball. The more times you can have it rotate out of your hand, the quicker the break.
Last couple of weeks for Melky, the numbers are well up as he lofts this one on the infield. Wind is blowing quite a bit, and Elvis Andrus plays it nicely. 2 outs here in inning number 2. The home half. Customize your own Pick 7 or Pick 14 season flex plan today. The Pick 7 and Pick 14 plans feature savings off individual game tickets. For tickets or more information, visit whitesox.com or call 312-674-1000.
4 straight hitters have hit the ball in the air. They haven't hit it particularly well, but they've hit it in the air, which would lead you to believe that there's probably an early home run in the future of Mr. Holland. He's only given up 1 home run this year and now 17 and 2/3 innings. You would think that that one would go by the boards. It's tough to be a fly ball pitcher on a day like today at U.S. Cellular Field.
2-0 on Brett Lawrie, and sometimes you look up there at the flags and they're going every which way.
Yeah, it doesn't really help you very much. All that you need here in this ballpark is experience because the wind swirls. What Holland has done very well so far is keep the ball inside on the fastball to the right-hand hitters.
Two and one to Lawrie. Third one in the air. Long way to go. Odor and Mazzara, and Rougned Odor tracks it down easily in foul territory. 6 in a row retired for Holland.
game brought to you by Miller Lite.
Final day of this homestand. Sox will be on the road to Toronto and Baltimore for 7. We'll see the AL East. The Jays at 9 and 10. The Orioles having a strong start at 11 and 5. And Manny Machado is slugging .779, second best in Major League Baseball.
This is going to be a very tough trip,
especially for the Sox pitchers. You'd imagine, with two strong lineups. Jays are currently hanging 6 on the A's. Strike one to Rougned Odor, who struck out in the first inning. 1-0 Rangers on a Nomar Mazara solo homer.
Baltimore coming into play 7-1 at home, so they've dominated things. That's also a great park to hit.
Odor, line drive. Eaton is on it. 1 out.
Now, we've got correspondents everywhere, and they have one thing in common, and that is they're grossly underpaid because they get paid nothing. But
well, slightly underpaid.
Slightly underpaid. But Chuck Swirsky, who is a big baseball fan and did a few games with us last year, tells us that Carlos Carrasco left the ball game after fielding and running to first base.
Yeah, it was in the 3rd inning against the Tigers today. He's pulled from the game as Mazara takes ball 1.
Left hamstring injury, severity of which is not known. So anytime you get one of the big 5 and a guy, if not at the top, close to it in your rotation, and he departs, that's not very good for your ball club.
Especially with the consistency he's shown in terms of being a number 2 starter. It's a big loss if he's out for any length of time for Cleveland. 1-2 on Mazara. The Jays, who the Sox will see tomorrow, have had quite the roster shakeup as well. Chris Colabello suspended by Major League Baseball 80 games for a positive test for a banned substance.
And Russell Martin, leaving the ball game, could not play today after having some neck issues. It happened to him in Friday night's game. He played yesterday, but he said he felt increasing discomfort all the way through the ball game, and so they shelved him today. We'll see how that works out because we're going to get there tonight.
Yeah, Josh Tolley catching. It's a Sunday lineup for the Jays. Ezekiel Carrera, Darwin Barney, Justin Smoke in the lineup, but the big names are still there. We'll see him for 3 days. Jose Bautista, Edwin Encarnacion, Josh Donaldson.
A lot of thunder in that lineup.
3-2 on Mazara, who's got the only run driven in today, and he's got ball 4 here from Latos. First walk for Matt today. Sox fans, join us Saturday, May 21st, 1:10 p.m. against the Royals. All fans 21 and over get a 25th ballpark anniversary canvas presented by Miller Lite, the original light Pilsner and official beer of your Chicago White Sox. Purchase your tickets today at whitesox.com or call 866-SOX-GAME.
Got a golden opportunity for a double play off the bat of Beltre. He's grounded into 2 of them.
Struck out last time. Punches this one foul into a sweet. Yeah, 328 and a nice play up there.
.328 would be on the right side, and a beautiful day to be in one of those luxury suites.
That ball smashed to left. Will it stay fair? No.
That one on the inside part of the plate, it was down, and Beltre fortunately got around a little too quickly. Bidding for his 4th home run of the year, he opens up. He's just taking a look at it and realizes that it hooks in front of the pole.
That is a challengeable play if Jeff Bannister would want to. Now that one he's not going to, but as long as the ball is behind the point of view of the umpire, fair foul is challengeable. 1-2 on Beltre.
It's not a bad pitch here. is the slow hook. He got out a little too quickly on a ball inside. When he's looking for something in there, he will open up quickly. Slow hook will probably yield either a strikeout or ground ball to the left side. Not the hanging hook. I mean, nice idea, just you make a mistake, and fortunately Beltre fouled it back.
Well, that was something Matt Latos was talking about. Remember that first start in spring training when he was missing in that start? He was missing up, and he called it a blonde moment in spring training.
A lot of guys don't have much of a curveball in Arizona.
That ball stayed up on him again.
Normally what a pitcher can do when he's not able to get his breaking ball to stay down, you shorten your stride. Shorten your stride, that'll keep you automatically over the top of anything you throw, either a slider or preferably the curveball. And if you can make that adjustment, you don't have to have the pitching coach come out. You just know it yourself.
Fastball that time. Still 1-2 on Beltre.
So far, 57% fastballs, the slider and the splitter at 18%, with the curveball at just 8%. 90-mile-an-hour average. Slider at 85 and 81 for the splitter. Splitter very effective. So it looks like a fastball till the last instant.
On the ground, Saladino. Out number 2. He was going first all the way there.
Well, realizing when he came on, he was going to have to smother the short hop, and he was going toward the first base bag. He would have had to stop, flip it backwards. You open yourself up to a big inning. And so he made a good play. And a very talented rookie on second base. And now a huge shift in the infield for Prince Fielder.
Everyone other than Frazier to the right. Well, you've got Desmond next, who's hitting, at least coming into the game, 119 against right-handers. Unintentional, intentional walk. How do you play this here?
I wouldn't give him anything too good to hit. If he wants to get himself out by swinging a pitch out of the zone, that's not necessarily a bad idea. That was one out of the zone, so pretty good idea. Most pitchers will tell you it's pitching with your eye to the on-deck circle. You have to know who's coming up next, how well he's done against you personally, but if you have a small sample size, then how well he's doing this year.
Pitch up and out, 1-2 on Fielder.
Yeah, nice place. And, you know, it's not bad to follow it up in the same spot. Again, you've got 2 strikes on 2 pitches out of the zone. Another high fastball right there probably get you out of the inning.
See where he goes. 1-2 for Fielder. Outside. Latos came in leading the majors in batting average against, 097. He surrendered 2 hits thus far today. 2-2. Breaking ball up. Fielder hits it in the air. Jackson. Rangers have stranded 3. They lead 1-0.
The Illinois Lottery, a new family of instant tickets where you can win up to $3 million instantly. Get ready to live large. Between innings, we salute someone from the armed forces, and today it was Gunnery Sergeant Michael Bubb. A couple of tours of duty and 15 awards during his service. Really a nice thing for the Sox to do, and the fans usually give whoever is honored a standing ovation.
With the understanding that these people are sacrificing the chances they have here for what they can do for the country. Strike called on Sands. It was borderline. It's 1-1.
Outfield once again awfully deep all the way around, and David Rackley, if he's going to call that low pitch, just stay consistent.
Inside 2-1 on Jerry Sands, who has an RBI in this series. Came right after Brett Lawrie's 2-run double in the 6th 2 nights ago. Yeah, it may have been Jerry Sands' rally bubble, though, that started all the winning this homestand. You remember Alex Avila, before his unfortunate trip to the DL, placed the bubblegum bubble on Jerry Sands' hat the other night. In fact, you're dressed like Jerry Sands' bubblegum bubble today with your pink shirt on and your black vest.
I did try to dress exactly like a Good and Plenty for my trip to Toronto after the game. Thank you.
I've had good and plenty enough of you the last 7 days.
And you have only 3 more.
Fastball gets Sands 1 out here in the 3rd.
I would think the second time through, one of the things that the Sox hitters are going to notice is that Holland loves to throw the ball inside to the right-handers. This is the first ball he tried to get away. It was up and out over the plate. Not exactly the location he wants, but he does live inside. So on a pitch or so, if you're looking for something in there, it becomes a lot more hittable. As Navarro will hit from the right side against Holland.
Looking for his first hit this year against a left-handed pitcher. Navarro 3 for 30 thus far, and he is thrust into the primary catcher role rather than 1A, 1B. With the injury to Alex Avila, Kevin Smith up from AAA Charlotte. We showed you earlier a game winner that he had at home against the AAA Gwinnett Braves earlier this season.
Navarro has a home run against Derek Holland.
Socked foul, 2-1. That was back on Independence Day 2009.
We've seen him 4 times, has a couple of hits.
Two and 1, Holland to Navarro. Inside, 3 balls and a strike. Sox looking for their first base runner through now this the 8th batter.
Nicholas gave him a fastball away. He tried to throw it there and he got it inside, which would lead you to believe that that's a little tough for him.
Back-to-back full counts. So how do you protect against that inside pitch?
Just open up a little more quickly. If he dots the eye on the outside corner, you just give it to him.
Navarro drills it. Left field. Rua back. He did it again. His 2nd career homer off of Holland. We are tied.
Holland tried to get that ball away and couldn't do it. That one had too much of the plate, and Navarro hits his first home run of this young season. He's driven in 3 runs. A forward home run replay. Got it up and got it out. And just like that, the game tied at 1.
And with that homer, another generous donation from the Alex Snellius family in loving memory of Ursula. First extra base hit this year for Navarro. You said it last inning. With all the fly balls that Holland had been giving up, it was just a matter of time before one got up and out.
There's only one ground ball out, that off the bat of Adam Eaton, to lead off the ball game. And so Holland continues to try to get the ball inside.
Jackson, opposite way. Mazzara.
That was actually a changeup, a pretty good pitch. And that was low and away. So there's a look at the man who now seemingly the everyday catcher, or close to it. So he'll have an opportunity to get consistent at bats, and now we'll see if he can get that batting average and those power numbers up.
Here is the aforementioned Adam Eaton with the only ground ball out today for the Sox. Derek Holland last year saw a spike in his home runs allowed, 11 of them, 1.7 per 9 innings, tied for the most in his career.
That was probably partially due to the fact that he was coming back off some shoulder issues. This year, he is entirely healthy. He's given up just 2 home runs.
Yeah,
but he is a fly ball pitcher, which normally isn't a good thing in Texas, and not a good thing here today.
Yeah, this must feel like home sweet home.
Very similar, except the wind tunnel in Texas is right in right center. Here it'll go out fairly easily in any direction.
2-1 for Eaton from Holland. Few shots at third. Beltre had it played perfectly, and the inning comes to an end. But Deoner Navarro leaves the ballpark. Solo home run on 3-2 against Holland. The Sox have tied the game. To win something off our prize shelf. What do we have today, Vanna?
Well, it's extensive, and plus we added one of those winter caps, which would come in handy last night, not so much today. But you have to be very quick to get it, because the viewers are getting quicker on Sox Math.
They are. The viewers are rapid fire on Sox Math. Time for Sox Math this half inning. First person to tweet the correct answer with the hashtag SoxMath wins something of your choosing, maybe off the prize shelf. You can suggest which prize you'd like. And by the way, we do have another Steve Stone autographed Altoids container. The first one was won already. Unwittingly. Here's the problem today for Sox math. Do it in order as it's shown. The number of Bobby Thigpen saves in 1990 minus the overall draft pick used to select the White Sox Canadian infielder, and then 2 more. Add the number of career complete games from Jose Quintana, and there's 1 more as well. But you got a head start now. Hashtag Sox Math. First person in gets a prize. Desmond, right field. And this ball is into the corner and foul.
I mean, just foul. And Desmond looking over in the dugout. He wants to go through the appellate process, apparently. Now, the call was made by the crew chief, Larry Vanover. Normally, this is something you don't appeal. And we'll take a look at it as it's slicing down the line. Watch it again.
Foul.
Well, you can appeal it, but it's a foul ball. I don't think that Jeff Bannister and his able folks reviewing that are going to want to lose their challenge quite this early.
Here's the rest of the question. Multiply by the number of hits Todd Frazier had in the 1998 Little League World Series title game. Todd won with the Toms River team that year. So Thigpen saves minus the overall draft pick used for the White Sox Canadian infielder. Add the complete games by Quintana and multiply by Frazier's hits in that championship game in the Little League World Series, as Desmond takes inside and no challenge from Bannister in that first base dugout. Hashtag SoxMath on Twitter. Desmond had a notion and declined. 3-2.
Pretty tough pitch to lay off, but he was able to do just that. We saw yesterday you don't want to walk him leading off an inning, because when you do, he stole 2 bases and scored 2 runs.
Desmond right side. Playable for Laurie. 1 out.
As we move to the 4th, I was kind of wondering, and you haven't mentioned it, but at 73 degrees, I thought one of the things in the Sox math could have been the amount of pounds you would lose because I turned on the heater under your feet.
Yeah, what?
Did you notice it was getting a little warm?
Yeah, it seemed a little toasty down here. Why did you do that?
Well, I did it because I want you to feel loosened up for the broadcast.
AKA melted. Moreland looks at ball 1. What are you doing?
Well, I've turned it off now, but you know, I thought it was something that would make you feel a lot more comfortable. There's a tendency to get drafty in the booth on occasion.
Feel like lobster thermidor. 2-0 on Moreland.
Got to be careful here. You've got a dead pull hitter in a very much a hitter's count.
Right center and down for Moreland. His first hit in 10 at-bats in this series.
Off-speed pitches from Latos, staying up a little higher than he would like. So on that hitter's count, Moreland gets one out away, hits it off the end of the bat, but hits it in a good spot and winds up with the 3rd hit of the ball game.
One on, one out for Elvis Andrus.
Frazier's back at 3rd. Andrus hit the ball very hard last time, but is an accomplished bunter.
Strike to Andrus. He was tied for 2nd in the American League last year with 9 bunt hits.
That got a break there as that high fastball, seemingly out of the zone, was called strike 1.
Pulling a strike on Andrus, who came up through the Braves organization and had difficulty in terms of defensive numbers. He had at least 30 errors 3 straight years, but he's one of those guys that maybe he gets to so many baseballs when he's young, and his range was a factor, and you don't have those advanced metrics in the minors as you do in the majors and can kind of suss that out.
He also has a very strong arm, and when you have as strong an arm as he does, what happens is you believe you can throw out anybody on any play. That leads to a lot of errors, especially when you're very young.
Left field base hit, slashed by Andrews. 2 on, 1 out for Rua.
That ball a little bit higher than Matt would have liked it, and Andrews drives it into left field.
So, Rua, who is 0 for 4 in this series, has a chance to break this tie against Matt Latos, who's allowed 4 hits today. And a couple times, you and I talked about it during the break, he's missed up, and when you're going well, sometimes you get away with it.
He got away with it to end the 3rd inning to Fielder as he popped it up to center field.
Tough play for Frazier at 3rd, and he's there for out number 2. It's almost to the point where when Todd Frazier is involved in the play, you just assume an out's coming.
Well, he's back at 3rd, and so he's got to come get it, realizing that the runners are going to move up, but he's left with only 1 play, and he makes it rather easily. So now the former Artichoke, Scottsdale Community College, Brett Nichols steps up.
You know, it's rare that you see a former Artichoke. Many current. Usually they are digested when they're former Artichokes. Strike number 1 to Nicholas, who had his first major league hit in his 3rd major league at bat against Mike Montgomery of Seattle. Right down the heart for the former Artichoke. 0-2.
Biggest out of the ball game. There hasn't been too many key situations, this being one of them, because Odor in the on-deck circle is a very good hitter and crushed the ball last time lining out to Eaton, so you want to make sure that he leads off the next inning.
2 strikes on Nicholas. Slapped it foul.
I like the location on that one. It was up out of the strike zone. Nicholas just trying to stay alive.
$12 homers last year for Nicholas. 21 3 years ago. There is some power. He's down 0-2. High fastball, and he churns it foul.
Well, this is where a lot of confidence in your catcher comes into play, because it would be very good to bury something in the dirt. We know that Deanna Navarro has handled Matt Latos very well. Latos has a lot of confidence throwing it to him. Let's see where he wants this one.
0-2. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Very good 0-2 pitch. Nicholas able to check it up.
Moreland at 3rd, Andrews at 2nd. Ball and 2 strikes. Here it comes.
Nice
There's
stop.
that confidence.
Yeah, nice stop by Navarro. As he didn't even try to catch it. If you take a look at both arms, he brings the elbows in, make sure he covers up, in hockey parlance, the 5-hole, and then has a dribble in front of him. By the way, congratulations to the Blackhawks. A big win last night. Game number 7 on tap.
Nicholas, left field, Melky. That's what the warning track's for. Latos gets out of it. Watching on LaPorte City Telephone in LaPorte City, Iowa. A beautiful town in the great state of Iowa. And we'd also like to welcome, for their 600th consecutive game, Laura Williams and her mother, Alice. How about that? 600 straight White Sox home games.
That's pretty impressive. Because I know this will surprise some people, but the weather isn't always great here early in the season.
That's what? About seven and a half seasons worth?
Yeah. Through thick and a lot of thin, but always present.
Beltre at third, waits for it, and has out number one. First game of that streak, this being the 600th consecutive home White Sox game. 3 homers, Jermaine Dye, Nick Swisher, and one of the best catchers of all time, A.J. Pierzynski, Javier Vasquez. Oh, that's a curveball right there. 10 strikeouts of the Royals, 9-0. August 12th, 2008. Laura Williams' first home game of this streak.
Javi Vasquez had remarkable stuff. It is still astounding to a whole lot of people who saw him pitch why he wasn't a more consistent winner. Because when you have at least 3+ pitches, you figure he's going to figure it out.
What do you think it was?
I just think he wanted to show every one of his pitches to every hitter, every at-bat, instead of just picking a couple to get people out. But great stuff, a terrific guy. And he won a lot. He just wasn't near over 500. I mean, with his stuff, you're looking probably for a guy 30, 40 games over 500 for the course of his career, and I don't think he got close to that.
Started his career in 1998. In Montreal. Yeah, for his career, 5 over 500, 165 and 160.
It's a lot of wins, but also, again, with that stuff, you figure 5 over. He was doing a few things wrong, but then he was also doing a lot of things right.
4.22 career ERA, 3.91 fielding independent pitching. Abreu strikes out. So 2 down, and we'll show you the Sox math answer today. Bobby Thigpen saves 57 of them back in '90. Laurie is the Canadian infielder. He was picked 16th. Quintana has 1 complete game and 4 hits for Todd Frazier in the 1998 Little League World Series title game. SSSP Knowles is your winner, according to judge and juror Chris Kamka downstairs. Congratulations.
And the sad part about that is Jim Canatero. Not sad that you're Jim Canatero, but sad that he just was a touch late with his correct answer. So he gets nothing. Nothing, Jimmy boy.
And how often do you see it that somebody involved in Sox math comes up next? 1-1 to Frazier. He was 4 for 4 in that Little League World Series title game that Toms River won, and they were the toast of New Jersey. He said he got walked as well in that game, and it was an unintentional, intentional Little League walk, because you can't call for the intentional walk in Little League baseball. He said the catcher was set up in the other batter's box.
That's a tip-off.
Yeah.
I think he should probably look in here. He's going to get it there.
Way in.
Here's a situation where, number one, you're looking fastball, and two, you're zone hitting, meaning you're going to pick one spot where you really want it. Most hitters will go middle in and unload if they get it. Here's going to be a changeup.
Frazier rips it left side into the corner on a hop, clanging off the wall. Frazier busts it for second. The slide is out. Came off the bag. Todd disputes it and wants a challenge.
Well, they will take another look at it, and we'll see. It's a pretty good throw by Rua. The swipe tag initially misses him. Now, I think what Todd is going to say, if he says that it was off the bag, is that Odor pushed his hand off the bag, which is not allowed. So the Rangers are leaving. Could very well be that he pushed his hand off the bag, and that's what Todd wants to dispute.
See.
So he got in there easily.
Yeah, he makes a clear move forward toward Frazier's arm and hand.
Now, it appears that, I mean, the call in this instance was right in that he is tagged when he comes off the bag. The question mark being, does he push his hand off?
There's an affirmative act there forward by Odor, don't you think?
Well, I would think so, but right now it looks like we're going to head on to the next inning. So what would have been a double turns into the end of the inning.
Inches for Frazier. And we owe you commercials. Buy some of these products. 1-1. Oh, and 1 on Rougned Odor to lead off for the Rangers.
The appeal to Chris Guccione, he says no. The pitch was well out of the zone. Odor got out in front And at the last instant, checked his swing.
Ball and a strike on Rougned Odor after Todd Frazier was thrown out trying to stretch a single into a double, and that is not worthy of an appeal. Strike 2 on Odor.
If you're going to make an appeal play, it's pretty tough to go after intent. And that's what it would have had to have been.
Two and two on Odor. I mean, as we were looking at the replay, you're looking for something that the fielder is doing to push forward on the hand, and it did look like Odor moved toward Frazier's hand, but can you tell whether or not he had shoved his hand off the bat?
If he did that, it was a very smart play.
Laurie can't get there. It's a leadoff single for Rougned Odor. There's one more look at it at second base. Watch it. Yeah, he kind of scoops his hand off, but it'd be difficult to adjudicate that.
Well, for a young player, it was well done in that he kept the glove on, hoping that the hand would pop off the bag. Going in that hard with swinging your body away toward the outfield side of the bag makes it more difficult to hook the bag and not come off.
Todd Frazier is also the type of guy that if he were out because the sky was blue, he'd ask you to challenge it. One of the more entertaining personalities. I mean, this is just a couple weeks into the season. One of the more entertaining guys that been around here for a long time. And I know it was a revolving door over at third. Connor Gillespie was over there, among others. And he actually, Connor's back up in the majors with the Giants. Just got recalled a couple of days ago from Sacramento.
I would think used right, he probably has some value. That's as a late inning pinch hitter and a guy that can get some hits against a tough right-hander.
Inside 1-1 on Mazzara, who's homered and walked thus far today. Sky is blue, by the way.
And last year we did see Joey Gallo come up and make a thunderous major league debut against our ball club. He's back down in the minor leagues. And a lot of people feel that Mazzara is going to be a better player overall. He can do more things, and he is a plus with the glove. Gallo, a third baseman by trade, not a plus with the glove, but huge power.
There goes Odor. Navarro had to double clutch, and he's arguing that Mazzara was in his way.
Odor tipped off that he was going because he was leaning towards second. Now, if he does it cleanly, he's got a chance of getting it. That's a pretty tough sell, looking for interference from the hitter on that particular play.
So, Robin watches a runner into scoring position for the Rangers here in the fifth. 2-1 on Mazzara. I know it's not exactly the same, but Mazzara has a stance, just looking at Robin, has a stance that's rather similar to Robin's when he played. He was very wide open from the left-hand side.
He's trying to do everything he can here to pull the ball to the right side at the very least. You want to make sure that Odor is standing on third base when this at bat ends.
He does so. Odor to third. As prophesied, one out. Cover all the bases for just $79 by purchasing an Abreu 4-pack. Each pack includes 4 upper box game tickets, 4 hot dog value meals, and a parking pass. Abreu 4-packs available now for all Thursday home games. Visit whitesox.com/Abreu to order yours today. Those are free T-shirt Thursdays as well.
We got the Milkman T-shirt coming up on our next Thursday T-shirt day. Infield in at all 4 positions.
Ball 1 to Beltre. We may be able to put one on our prize shelf very soon.
I would be hoping that that would be the case when we come back off the road after celebrating the first off day for this team in 19 straight games. That will be on Monday, May 2nd.
Foul ball from Beltre, and a game effort down the line there. Ball and a strike. You know, for all the talk of the only having one off day in April, the Sox bullpen has been in very good standing so far in terms of stacking, even having to go extra innings yesterday. Throw to third is high.
Well, if it's a good throw, they're going to get him. That was well played. A good time to do it because you got a youngster at third base who wants to get a decent secondary lead, and it was up. Would have taken a perfect throw to get him, but they looked like they would have had him.
2-1 to Beltre is up and out, 3-1 with Prince Fielder on deck.
A lot of pitches. 95th forthcoming with 1 out here in the 5th.
Ball 4. Second walk for Latos. Runners at the corners for Fielder. Sox with the extra man in the bullpen. Eric Johnson called up on Tuesday of this week. Already 15 in this inning for Latos. The biggest inning was the first with 26 to 6 batters. We've yet to see Eric Johnson throw this season. Fielder reached on an error in the first. This could be 2. Laurie Saladino. Double play. So much for that rally. The pride of Homewood Flossmoor High School, Chuck Garfine, ladies and gentlemen. Very diligently working. He's at work every day.
Well, he was mentioning just how diligently, yes, I think that's diligently, he was working, putting together a show.
Chuck can put together a show now.
There's no doubt about that.
2-0 on Cabrera, who popped out to short in the second inning.
Nice job of getting out of the inning by Matt Latos.
Melky gives this one a jolt. Foul ball, 2-1.
Looked to me like he didn't want to give Beltre anything too good to hit. So he was content with first base open to pretty much put him on and leave it up to the big man who can't run very well, who obliged with a 4-6-3 double play tapper. Matt Latos doesn't have near the stuff he had in the other outings. Plus, he's facing a much better hitting team, but still 1 run on a solo homer in 5 innings. With the wind blowing the way it's blowing today, another strong outing for Matt Latos.
His ERA .77 as we speak. 3-2 on Cabrera. And by the way, remember, Sox gave up 5 runs in that first inning on Monday night to open the homestand.
Yes.
They've allowed 10 runs since. Ball 4 to Melky, leadoff walk for the Sox. Their first walk today. White Sox fans, celebrate your Mexican heritage at the ballpark May 5th with Cinco de Miller, presented by Miller Lite. Or that's Mijer, I think. White Sox are offering specially priced tickets to celebrate Cinco de Mayo, and the first 10,000 fans at the game will receive a t-shirt presented by Miller Lite. To purchase tickets, visit whitesox.com/Cinco. Brett Lawrie with 1 on, nobody out. Rips this one, right center field. Long run, Mazzara hits off the wall. Cabrera to third, Lawrie to second. Sox are in business here in the 5th.
Brett Lawrie took a high fastball. It was in the middle of the plate, and he drove it to the deepest recesses of the ballpark. Mazzara, who's got good speed and gets a good jump, couldn't get to it. You see the high fastball. Melky couldn't really turn it on exactly. You see him hesitate right there, and because of that, Joe McEwing can't think about scoring him. So runners at second and third, nobody out.
6 doubles and a homer for Lawrie, who came in slugging .413. Jerry Sands, who struck out on 3 and 2 last time. He's got a shot at a productive out on the ground. The middle infield is back.
Jeff Bannister wants to concede 1 run to stay out of the big inning. And Holland caught a break. That was an inside fastball that was off the inside corner, but called a strike.
Well off this time, 1-1.
Lazar with a very good arm in right. Desmond with a great arm in center. Rule with a pretty good arm. Probably average major league in left field. He's an all-purpose player, can play anywhere.
That one gets away from Nicholas. Cabrera scores. The Sox have the lead.
He's got a chance of being called a wild pitch, but it's a pitch that Nicholas should have blocked. He called the off-speed pitch. It would have been easy to smother, but it flattens out, and it is a wild pitch. Nicholas would be the first to tell you that that one you have to have. And now the infield in at all 4 positions as the Sox have taken the lead.
A scrappy bunch on the south side this season. Robin said it after the game yesterday. He said at points didn't feel great, didn't seem like the momentum was there, but this bunch of players has continued to fight as Sands is late on a fastball from Holland. Two and 2 to Jerry Sands. Nicholas didn't catch that one cleanly either. 3 and 2.
Adriano Navarro waiting in the on-deck circle. He put the Sox on the board with his home run in the third.
Can they build on this lead already standing at 2-1? Inside, ball 4. Second straight game with a walk for Jerry Sands.
The author of that first run, that home run, the first of the year for Navarro. And with this first White Sox run, eClick Lending has donated $100 to the Pat Tillman Foundation, supporting military veterans and their families.
Yet another reason to like the Sox first run. That donation. So Deanna Navarro. First and third, nobody out against Holland. Way outside.
Well, apparently there was supposed to be a play on. However, Adrian Beltre was not in on it because Nicholas looked like he wanted to throw to third base on a pitch high and away, but nobody was there.
Softly placed for a strike.
You see Nicholas, he's up and ready to throw, but
missed a sign. Somebody.
Joe McEwing is the closest to the bag, and he certainly is not going to catch it.
Been a while since Joe played. Yeah, if anybody is going to be aware of the signs at third, it's Adrian Beltre, who's second all time in games played at third base, behind only Brooks Robinson coming into this season, fewer than 300 games away. So if he's durable the next 2 years, Beltre will be the all-time most used third baseman in Major League history. 1-2 on Navarro from Holland. Bends inside, 2-2.
Holland is throwing everything up, which is usually not what you're looking for with runners at first and third and nobody out, because that yields sacrifice flies. At least he stayed up with the 4 pitches in this at bat.
2-2. Navarro smokes it to left, right at Rua. Here comes Laurie. He is safe. Sands takes off for second. Out there. He got a late jump. Sox expand their lead at 3-1.
Navarro, with 2 runs batted in coming into this game, has 2 this afternoon. And so with everything up in the zone, that is the sacrifice fly. Ball hit awfully hard. Rua right there on the run, makes the throw. Not close enough at the plate. It hits off Laurie a couple of times, and then Nicholas makes a good throw to second base.
Yes. Yes, Brett. You did score. Yes. Yep. Okay. What do you think that phone call was about?
I think they're going to say he left early. And so he's going to go into a stretch and go back to third base.
An appeal from the Rangers forthcoming.
Well, Beltre's saying throw the ball home. That's not what you do. That's what you do.
Safe the call by Rackley, the plate umpire.
The reason why Rackley makes that call is that Chris Guccione has to go out to see if it's fielded cleanly in left field. As it turned out, it was a line drive. So Rackley has to come up and make sure that Laurie has waited long enough. Now we'll watch it. In the glove.
Yeah.
Oh, it's easy. I mean, that's, you got nothing to lose by going to third base, but it's not even close.
Well, Brett Laurie's exuberant and maybe even anxious sometimes, but there he held his ground as Austin Jackson swats a single, maybe 2, He's gunning for it. And he's there. Austin Jackson peeling out of the batter's box with a 2-out double.
Holland came in with close to an 8-point ERA against our Sox career-wise. And although he was 2-0 this year, he is starting to get hit. Good throw by Desmond, who's got a strong arm. But you can see Odor has to come get the throw and no chance to get back in time. So Austin Jackson thinking about 2 bases when he left the batter's box. Easily into second base, and his only problem was hooking the bag, which he did.
So, 3rd extra base hit for Austin this year. Adam Eaton to bat. And the Rangers, which we saw the other day, Texas came in with a beleaguered bullpen. See how quickly they dip into that. Brocale and Bannister talking it over in the first base dugout.
We haven't seen Sean Tollison. He's their closer, and hopefully we won't even have any thought of using him today. And Dykeman, another one of those guys that was used quite a bit. We haven't seen him either. He's a hard-throwing lefty.
Late of the Phillies organization. Wrapped foul by Eaton, 0-2 for Adams. Sox trying to sweep the Rangers and finish the homestand at 5-2 after a split with the Angels.
It would certainly be a wonderful homestand for a number of different reasons, one of them being the sweep of the Rangers. Pretty good. This is a good Ranger team.
Third base side, Beltre. Neat play by Adrian Beltre. 3rd ground out for Eaton. Sox get 2 on 2 hits. Wild pitch, sac, fly. 3-1 Sox after 5.
He's got a lot of Sox pride.
Yeah, maybe. There's never too much Sox pride, but that had to have been a real escapade to get that done. How long do you think that takes?
Oh, I would say go to Earl Scheib. They spray paint it, and you got yourself a memorable game look.
You have to do a post-paint buff, I feel like, to get the sheen that he had. There's strike 1 to Desmond, who singled to center in the 1st and popped out to 2nd in the 4th. Matt Latos, who wriggled free out of trouble in the 5th with a 4-6-3 double play.
And just in case, the bullpen up and going, because Matt is knocking at the door of 100 pitches. This will be 99 coming up.
Magic 100 on the way.
He's only had one 1-2-3 inning. That coming in the second. Boy,
we have the only booth in America. It's over 70 degrees. The space heater's on.
It just keeps on turning itself on. It
sure doesn't.
It's amazing.
Your hand keeps being implicated. Well hit enough to trickle through. Ian Desmond is ready for his close-up. He has been on base 6 times the last 2 days. Bring your little all-star to the game. And inside of it, fans 13 and under can join the White Sox Kids Club for special Kids Club giveaways, free White Sox tickets, and exclusive events. Head to whitesox.com/Kids Club today to join.
We talked about the fact that Matt Latos does not have as good a stuff today as he had the first 3 times out. So this is where Don Cooper and Robin Ventura will keep a close eye on him.
What are you looking for as you evaluate that if you're Cooper and Ventura?
Well, along with the obvious, the fact that he's at 101 pitches, he hasn't had a lot of guys missing pitches today. And that's one of the factors, because in the other 3 starts, they were missing a lot of pitches from him. You're not going to get that many strikeouts. You just want to see some guys not on everything.
Up the ladder, just beyond the infield, Saladino. Out number 1.
That was a dangerous hitter taken down, as Moreland last time ahead in the count drove a base hit. And now he's 1 for 3 as Zach Duke throwing in the pen in front of my favorite Vienna beef hot dog. And Don Cooper wants to know if Zach is ready to go. I would assume on this warm day that the answer would be in the affirmative. Also, I think he wants to get a right-hander up.
And 2 righties here, Andrus and Rua, then the left-hander Nicholas. Matt Latos in his first 3 starts, I mean, epically, historically good. 6 hits allowed. He's surrendered 6 so far today, but 5 singles and a solo homer. You'll take that.
Especially the heat at the ballpark and the way the wind is swirling out toward left center field.
That ball surprised Elvis Andrus, and it's strike 1.
Jumped out of the way and tried to convince David Rackley that it wasn't in the zone, and it was that. The infield playing straight away, the outfield a couple of steps to the right of center.
Ball and strike for Andrus. Sox yesterday used 5 relievers: Petrichka, Duke, Robertson, Jones, and Albers. Matt Albers has pitched now 2 days in a row. Petrichka faced just 1 batter worth mentioning, so he is very available today.
Got to keep your eye on Desmond at first base, because his lead has gotten a little further out with every succeeding pitch. Team ERA as a group, 160.
Runners off, pitch is low, and no chance for Deoner Navarro. Ian Desmond continues his U.S. Cellular Field thievery. That's 3 stolen bases the last 2 days.
You could pretty much tell he was going to go, in that he kept creeping another half step and another half step, and finally took off, and no chance at all for Deoner to get him. And a good jump. He looks back to see if there's any contact. There was none.
Two 1 through the left side. Desmond has to hold at third. Elvis Andrus 2 for his last 2.
Well, Don Cooper is coming out. He wants a word with Matt Latos. Ian Desmond, who usually steals around 20 bases. Last year, the stolen bases were down at 13. This year, it looks like he's intent on stealing more than he ever stole before. That was 25 back in 2011. He's been off to the races in this series, and so now David Rackley comes out. He wants to break up the meeting at the mound.
Yeah, they're going to, at least the mandate is keep these meetings to about 30 seconds this year, including walk time to the mound. So you gotta hustle out there,
especially if you are an Oakland pitching coach, because that's probably twice as long as any place else. And so last inning, Ed Latos got out with a double play ground ball. Thinking about the same here with Rua,
who's bounced out to second and to third today. Strike from Latos. Rua's only seen strikes. 6 pitches, all strikes or balls in play.
Elvis Andrus has tried 3 stolen bases and been caught each and every time. Normally, he's a pretty good base stealer. Well, might be a touch bigger this year than he's been in years past, as far as weight is concerned.
Ball and a strike from Latos with Nicholas, the catcher, on deck. This is the 8-9 portion of the order. If there's anywhere you want to be in this lineup, considering the Thunder in the middle, this is where you want to be. Latos has gone at least 6 in all 3 of his starts as he throws toward Andrus. Sox got 2 runs in the home 5th on a sacrifice fly and a wild pitch off a Brett Lawrie double and a Melky Cabrera walk. 1-1 to Rua. Right back to Latos. Quick reaction and a double play. Matt-like reflexes.
And it's the second double play in as many innings to get out of the inning. Good play by Latos. Gets it over to Lawrie, who gets it over to Abreu. And a lot of trouble saved out of the inning with a 2-run lead. So Matt Latos will go 6. We would anticipate that Robin would go to the pen, but it could be that Matt has a little something left. He's leading 3-1. So far held down a very good hitting Texas Ranger team.
They came in 77 runs scored into this series as Beltre takes care of Saladino for out number 1. Rangers got 3 runs, first 2 games of this series, 1 today. Time now for Sticks and Stone, America's fastest growing sensation. Bert Campaneris. Stoney, how'd you do against him?
Well, he broke up a no-hitter that I had in the 8th inning with 1 out on a single back through the middle on a 2-0 pitch. And so I played a lot of golf in the same tournaments he did and told him that I still hated him despite many years passing.
Way to not hold a grudge. Abreu for Beltre, and Moreland completes the out. So other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how was the play?
Other than that, I think that he probably hit pretty well because he didn't overswing. Most guys who do make contact did not overswing. So I would say that all things considered, although he was not known for the long ball, he probably had pretty good luck with my somewhat soft offerings.
Soft but effective.
At times, yes. At other times, not so much.
2 down for Frazier, who singled in the 4th, tried to extend it to a double and was thrown out at second base by Rua. Ball 1. Here are the results. We've tabulated them. 7 for 30.
No home runs. Walked him only once. I should have walked him that time in the 8th inning in Anaheim.
What were you thinking?
The little weasel. 2-0 fastball, rifled it right back through the middle.
Where was it?
But I'm not still bitter. It was down the middle because Harlow was at first base and I couldn't afford to walk him.
You couldn't afford to walk him. It's a no-hitter.
I can hardly remember back that far.
2-0 to Frazier. That is ball 3. Now, I love a pitcher saying it was down the middle because immediately we go into excuse mode.
Well, 2-0 pitch. I mean, you can't nip at the corners in that situation.
Well, you can.
Yeah, I was looking for him to maybe ground it at somebody. It wasn't to be.
He did at the center fielder.
Last no-hitter I threw, I was 12 and I lost it, so I decided never to throw another one.
Strike 2.
I thought that one was a touch inside.
Well, Honda Pitch Track says it is rapping on the door of the zone.
Yeah.
That's further inside. Ball 4. Nice take by Frazier. Here's one of the 23 outs. We went to the microfiche. Campaneris versus Stone.
He was in trouble when he hit the ball in the air, and what a play in center field. That's Pat Kelly. Also was my teammate in Baltimore, and that was most likely, and I'm just guessing here, the best catch that Pat Kelly ever made. He is the late Pat Kelly, was a terrific guy.
Ball 1 to Melky Cabrera. Those uniforms, by the way. Those uniforms, by the way, were
handsome.
Special.
They were handsome uniforms.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry about your no-hitter.
Thank you.
We'll have a seance later.
Didn't get that many shots at him.
Was that as close as you ever came?
In the major leagues, yes.
Yeah.
And however, my feelings were assuaged by winning my 20th game that night.
Yes, that'll do it. Right side. Should finish the deal. And Rougned Odor does so. Frazier stranded after a 2-out walk. 3-1 Sox after 6. this one from the First Merit Bank Stadium Club. Memberships are available to season ticket holders. The club is open before, during, and after every home game. First Merit Bank Stadium Club is also perfect for non-game day events, including weddings and corporate parties. For more information, call 312-674-1000. You can't get that exact view. You have to ask for shrubbery if you want that view. The Sox have a good view. They're up by 2, Steve.
And Zach Duke comes into the ball game, and he has been a very busy man. He's on for the 12th time. He's got a 3.0 ERA, 4 innings, so he's been the quintessential situational left-hander. And because 3 left-handers are due up in this inning, Zach is in the ball game.
He gets Nicholas first, and ball 1. We rolled back the tape on Beta, and that is actually Thad Bosley who made the catch.
It was
on the Campaneris ball.
I thought it was 6th. Too good a catch for Pat Kelly to make.
We gleaned that from your reaction.
Thad Bosley, on the other hand, was a pretty good center fielder.
1-1 for Nicholas. Rangers will head home to take on the Yankees. Sox will be on the road for Toronto and Baltimore. 3 with our neighbors to the north, and 4 in the lovely Charm City.
Going to be a very difficult road trip. Sox playing good baseball both at home and on the road. They have their work cut out for them. Toronto in their park. They're Bombers.
Slug to center. Austin Jackson nearly flat-footed for out number 1. Matt Litos finishes the day 6 innings, 7 hits, 1 earned run, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts.
A particularly good outing in that he really didn't have his great stuff. We saw it. Now, he walked a man in the 3rd. He only had 1 1-2-3 inning. He was in trouble. Not so much in the 1st because that was an error that put him there, but he was in trouble in the 4th, a spot of trouble in the 5th and 6th, and got out of all of them. 2 of them with double plays. And so Joe Grube is adjusting the heater.
He's unplugging the heater because sticky fingers Stone.
No, I would believe that that heater has a mind of its own.
Deep to right field, Eaton back at the wall, and this ball is foul.
Gives you an idea of the power of Odor in that he crushed that ball, but fortunately got out ahead a little too quickly. He's hit a couple of home runs this year. Not surprisingly, 13 driven in. He does not hit in the leadoff spot very often, as the 13 runs driven in would indicate.
We told you yesterday about his brother, also named Rougned Odor. His uncle Rouglis is the hitting coach for the Indians in AAA. Ball fisted to short. Saladino in a rush. Oh, a beautiful play.
He realized with Odor going down the line and a slowly hit ball caused by a broken bat, he really had to hustle it across. And hustle it across he does. Catching Odor by a half step, firing to Abreu. Good play, knowing who's going down the line and knowing you just don't have any time or margin for error.
He did get him too. Great call by Larry Vanover, who's had a very strong series, and a couple calls at third base that were very close.
Jeff Bannister wants to check it out. That's what we're waiting for. And Steve Buechele, he's saying his foot was off the bag. And
there's the headset sign.
There is the challenge.
The universal sign for wait a moment. Bannister with 1 challenge, as each manager does. And by the way, once we get to the 7th inning, there is crew chief discretion on a call if the umpires are asked to do it. But a manager doesn't have any challenges remaining. Crew chiefs can go ahead and look at the play on their own. So we will glance at it even more closely and see if Bannister, last year's AL Manager of the Year, spent some time in the minors as a manager with the Pirates, is correct.
Also, Bannister came to the major leagues as a manager like a lot of guys do, and that is He was a bench coach with Pittsburgh. Now
Watch Abreu's foot.
Yeah, we'll take a look at the foot on the bag. The throw beats him. There's no doubt. The question is the foot on the bag? Well, from that angle, definitive proof is going to be hard to come by.
This will be a good look at it. Yeah, it's still touching. I mean, it's not 100% on top of the bag. It just needs to be making contact with the bag. What do you think, Steve?
I don't believe there's enough definitive proof to overturn the call, which was out. We'll have to see what the guys in New York say.
Looks like a call stands here. That would be the feeling. If you don't have enough definitive proof,
Right.
It is call stands, either confirmed, meaning there is proof that the call was right, or reversed.
The fact that it's taking as long as it is taking would lead you to believe that there isn't a whole lot definitively, but looks like we're going to get a decision here almost instantaneously as Larry Vanover communicating with the guys in New York.
Only once this year has an opposing manager been correct on a challenge. That was Bannister in yesterday's game on the Jimmy Rollins play at second base. He was thrown out at second. You know, there was a patent that was out much earlier in baseball history for a person who wanted to put bells on the bags. It is an out, so 2 out. The idea was to put bells on the bases to allow for players to clang them as they stepped on them to help the umpires.
How'd that work out, by the way?
You don't notice any jingling in Major League Baseball on the old dusty trail currently. So we think it went the way of the Edsel. Strike one to Mazzara from Duke. So Bannister is out of challenges for the 7th, 8th, 9th, and beyond. That is Zach Duke against a lefty, quintessentially.
Good sweeping breaking ball. This one way out of the zone, and Mazzara starts to go after it before realizing it's going to wind up a foot outside. And
Duke went even further.
As crafty pitchers will do, if he swung at one, you might as well go there again. So Nate Jones loosening up for the very dangerous man in the on-deck circle, Adrian Beltre. Mazzara's a good-looking player. He does a lot of things well.
Strike three called. He tiptoed on the outside corner, and Zach Duke makes his way through a 1, 2, 3, 7th inning chance to build.
to you by Miller Lite, and here's our Miller Moments. Matt Latos was in some trouble, but he pitched out of it each and every time. This time the first inning, Laurie with a very good play. And then a double play gets him out of the 5th inning. And another double play gets him out of the 6th inning. So Matt Latos bent, but he didn't break. And he leaves with a 3-1 score. That's exactly where it stands, as Derek Holland still in the game. Zach Duke with a brilliant 7th inning. And let's see if the Sox can do what they've been doing recently, which is add on some late runs, some runs that either get them back in the game or help put away the game.
Some insurance.
Insurance,
as they say, in certain places around our great land.
It is Alex Claudio, he of the very slow breaking balled Claudios, getting loosened up in the bullpen.
What is their family crest? The slow breaking ball Claudios.
The baseball split exactly in half, moving very slowly.
I knew you'd know.
Oh yeah, I mean that's common sense. By the way, the wind is starting to kick up. Shame that heater doesn't work.
If only there was an invention. 2 strikes on Laurie, who doubled and scored back in the 5th. 75 degrees. You got the space heater on. Now it feels cold because you don't have the thing on anymore.
Hey.
It's your own fault. Outside corner, Brett Newitt, strike 3.
That's a pretty good pitch. One of the few times today that Holland's been able to locate that fastball away to the right-hand hitters. At that time, he threaded the needle and got the call by David Rackley.
Enjoy a picnic in the outfield of U.S. Cellular Field. Meet 2016 White Sox team members and talk to White Sox alumni. Join us Saturday, June 25th for Picnic in the Park. All proceeds benefit White Sox charities, and to purchase tickets, visit whitesoxcharities.org. A lot for you on that website. Jerry Sands swings through the first pitch, 0-1. Well, Rangers starters have been durable this year within games. They have not seen a starter go shorter than 5 at all this year. And Holland continues that.
Holland in 3 previous starts came in with 16 2/3 innings. So not quite 6 innings per start. But the way starting pitchers are used now, depending on the quality of your bullpen and whether they're overused or need some time off, you get pitchers averaging a solid 6. That's probably where a manager would like to be with just 9 outs to cover.
1-2 on Jerry Sands.
Pitch number 97 on the way, and Holland is still rushing it up there at 94, so no drop off in velocity.
Sox will be off to Toronto after the game. Marcus Stroman, the opposition tomorrow. R.A. Dickey in game 2, and Marco Estrada, the rejuvenated right-hander last couple of years, in day 3's game. Chris Sale versus R.A. Dickey. Could you be any different as 2 starting pitchers?
Certainly not. You got one a fireballer and the other a flutter baller. That knuckleball's right. Very tough to deal with.
3-2. Sands, center field.
So Jerry's been on twice today. He's got a walk and a base hit. Lifetime, he's always had luck against left-handers. One of the reasons why he's getting some play. And well, here comes Jeff Bannister, and apparently at the 99 pitch mark, that's going to be the last that Holland is going to throw today. So his preference is Jeff Bannister's to face Navarro from the right side. And so as Claudio comes strolling in, we'll step out and be back after these messages.
Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, delivers every out-of-market game live in HD on over 400 supported devices. It includes a free subscription to At-Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. You could be watching the Royals leading Baltimore right now, 6-1 in the 7th, but you're watching us instead. We thank you for that.
And Alex Claudio comes on for the 3rd time. He doesn't have much of anything. 2 2/3, 3 hits, but no runs. Hasn't walked anybody. He's got a sinker. He's got a sweeping, what he calls a slider. It's a sweeping breaking ball that is very slow normally.
All the way outside to Deoner Navarro, who's got a home run and a sac fly. It's 2 RBIs.
It is that.
Hashtag Sox math.
And they both came from the right side.
The side at which Navarro had been 0 for 11 entering this game. Sands is back.
Claudio originally drafted by the Rangers in the 27th round of 2010. That was out of Isabel Flores High School in Puerto Rico. Good move to first. Almost caught Sands leaning.
.33 games the last 2 years for Claudio with Texas. Came all the way up from advanced A ball in 2014 to make his major league debut. Way outside, 2-1.
Well, at 6'3", a lot of places to put 160 pounds. That's exactly what he weighs. Last year, 18 appearances, an ERA below 3, which in the Texas ballpark is pretty good.
Fastball that time on Navarro, 2-2. Sox got 2 runs in the 5th. Melky walked. Brett Lawrie doubled. A wild pitch got Cabrera home. Then after Jerry Sands walked, Deoner Navarro's sacrifice fly made it 3-1 Sox, who have scored 3 unanswered.
That was a straight change that was way off the plate.
Sands at first. And back he goes. If the Sox do sweep this series, they're 6 outs away from it. You got to feel like these are wins that you're going to be glad to have later in the year, considering that the Rangers are just going to get stronger with Yu Darvish and Cole Hamels getting healthier and healthier as the year goes on. Well, that's the hope.
I think one of the best parts about it is that after the 9th, 10th, and 11th of May, we're not going to see the Rangers anymore, and they're going to be a very good team. They're a good team now. They're going to be a lot better as they get healthier. They've suffered some very bad early season injuries, and if you weren't with us earlier, Cole Hamels has been scratched from his start tomorrow against the Yankees.
Up and out, ball 4 on Navarro, who's been productive every time at the plate. The day that he's really taken over A1 catcher responsibilities with Alex Avila going on the DL. Now what do you do if you're Bannister? Do you let Claudio keep going? I mean, it was to the point yesterday where Nick Martinez could not find the strike zone.
He's got nobody up in the pen, so it's pretty much Claudio against the world at this point, especially through Jackson and Eaton.
Strike one to Austin Jackson. It was an interesting dilemma coming into this series because the Rangers bullpen was tuckered out. But there were a couple guys maybe that Bannister could have used yesterday to help himself late in that game.
Yeah, he decided that he didn't want to win one game and lose his bullpen for any length of time. So we haven't seen Tollison. That's been a good thing because he is their closer. He does have 6 saves. He's decided, I don't believe, that he wants to use Barnett in this one. And of course, we talked about Diekman, another guy we haven't seen. They've got a decent pen, but they were overused coming into this series.
Tapper, third base side. Beltre, barehanded, save. Bases loaded.
Second hit for Austin Jackson. See Beltre back at third base. This is a tough play, but he gets himself in position to throw it. Off balance throw on the bare hand pick. And Larry Vanover's had a good day at first base, looking like he made another good call as Jackson got there an eyelash ahead of a very good throw by Adrian Beltre.
We were talking about the bullpen and with the bases loaded here, Eaton coming up. How do you manage that? How do you decide when to take one for the team, when to not go for the frontline guys for the victory?
You know, a good manager realizes that you can't win the pennant in April, but if you wear out some of your pensmen or hurt them, you can lose the pennant in April. And he is going to err on the side of caution, as exactly what Bannister is doing.
Bases loaded. One out for Eaton, who's 0 for 3 with 3 on the ground, and this one fouled in the air.
And with nobody up in the pen, it looks like, if need be, Bannister is going to eat this one. He would love to be able to get out of the inning one way or the other without giving up any more. But he's going to stay with Claudio as you look at the bases loaded. With a chance to add to that 2-run lead. That one got Joe McEwing. That can't feel too good. Tries to get out of the way, but the left foot, my left foot, gets in the way of that one. I think Joe will probably be hearing it a bit from the rest of the coaching staff and the ball club, assuming that this one's a winner.
Eaton checked it up. Joe stole 33 bags in his major league career. There's some speed there, some agility.
Yeah, he's gonna lose a step, I think.
One, two. Could be 2. Andrews, Odor. Double play. Still a 3-1 lead after 7 for the Sox.
1-0, 1.04 ERA, 8 strikeouts and 8 2/3. He's got to go right through the middle of a very good order. Beltre, Fielder, and Desmond, and you hope it ends there because Moreland coming up representing the tying or go-ahead run is not enviable at this situation.
17 pitches yesterday for Nate Jones in an inning. That after 2 days off.
And a good crowd here today.
$26,058 today at U.S. Cellular Field. Thanks for joining us. Adam Eaton in right. 1 pitch, 1 out.
Time now for our Lowe's Never Stop Improving stat. And as you can see, wins above replacement. All time for third baseman. Mike Schmidt at the top. Eddie Matthews in the 2 spot with Wade Boggs, George Brett, and then Adrian Beltre. And the thing that the top 4 have in common, they're all in the Hall of Fame, as is Chipper Jones and Brooks Robinson and Ron Santo.
How about Buddy Bell down there, too, of current White Sox fame?
Buddy could do it on both ends. He could hit it, drive him in, and he could catch it.
One and one to Prince Fielder, who is 2 for 12 in this series. This after Albert Pujols was 0 for 15 against the Sox. So right now 2 for 27 for those 2 sluggers, which suggests you're going to win some of those games.
Dan made a great catch in section 336. Was positioned well and snagged it. Now Navarro wants a face-high fastball. Then he got a low breaking ball. And there's the man with very good hands and a very stylish Paul Konerko jersey.
And an even more stylish ZZ Top beard.
It's one of those, certainly, yes.
How expensive do you think those sunglasses are? 3-2 on Fielder.
Yikes. Oh, good song, though.
Sharp dressed man.
Yes. There's a man who's had a big series, Ian Desmond in the on-deck circle.
3-2. Nope. So, with this being a 2-run game and Fielder's run being less consequential than the next, you wouldn't pinch run for him here, would you?
At this point, no, because if you do tie it up, you certainly want his bat in the lineup. If he was a tying run, I think it's a no-brainer. I think you'd take him down.
Strike for Ian Desmond, who's 2 for 3 in the game. And reached base 4 times yesterday, so 6 the last 2 days.
Desmond is yet to ground into a double play.
A missile for a strike.
I don't think I would even think about a waste pitch. I would throw him a wipeout slider and try to end the at-bat.
Out of the zone.
He's going with a fastball away. He hasn't seen the Jones slider yet.
Fielder at first, 1 out, 2-run game. Tailed away, 2-2. What's the theory behind the back-to-back fastballs there?
I just think he felt he could get him out on it, but he missed twice. This becomes even a bigger pitch with Moreland in the on-deck circle.
2-2. Fastball smoked to right field by Desmond.
That fastball right down the middle after missing away, and it was 3 straight fastballs, and Desmond shoots it into right field. So now a pinch runner for Prince Fielder.
Hanser Alberto, the pinch runner. We saw him do that yesterday, then come in and play first base. You can do that with a DH, with a straight switch like that. Oakland yesterday, because of the injury to Danny Valencia the other day, lost its DH and had to use the pitcher in the 4 spot in the lineup. So Kendall Graveman was the first pitcher ever to hit in the new Yankee Stadium. Fouled off by Moreland, who singled back in the 4th.
Pretty good idea on the first pitch. He kept it out away from Moreland. Being a dead pull hitter, was still trying to get out front of it.
Stellar season for the Sox bullpen so far. The best bullpen ERA in the league at 1.60 entering play today. All right, 1-2. Where are you going, Stoney?
Face high fastball. Nate, for whatever reason, has not thrown too many sliders in this appearance. He has been used quite a bit. We'll look in at Navarro, but you've got Alberto at second base, so he's going through a different set of signs. Threw the slider there. Left it over the middle of the plate. Unfortunately, Moreland fouled it off. Another hot hitter in the on-deck circle, Elvis Andrus.
One and two on Moreland. Time called. Nate Jones, second on the Sox, with now 10 appearances behind only Zach Duke, who's thrown in 12 games, including his 1 inning today. One and two from Nate Jones. Strike 3.
High slider. He got it by him. Navarro wants this inside, and Nate throws a spinner. It stays up in the zone, but he got it by Moreland, who, like a lot of guys who hit home runs, has an uppercut swing. So now Don Cooper is coming out. He wants a word with Navarro. He's noticed that Nate's stuff today, not quite as sharp as we've seen him on other occasions.
Here's Jake Diekman.
That's the guy we've been talking about that is starting to get loose. Going over who he's going to face. And there is Sox closer David Robertson,
who had really his only at all chancy outing of the season yesterday. A leadoff walk, which is terribly rare for him this year.
And it wound up costing him his first blown save of the season. So Robertson ready to go, but a big out stands in the way, and that's Elvis Andrus, who's had a couple of hits.
Has some power, no homers yet this year for Andrus. Jones guns in a strike.
Outfield very deep and around toward right center, because that's where Elvis has shown some power.
1-1. Two balls and a strike to Andrews, who had a career-high 7 homers last year. So again, he is the lead run, but an unlikely culprit to give the Rangers the lead. Two and one. That's a strike, needling the outside corner.
A bit of a generous outside corner, but Nate in this situation will certainly take it. You can always tell by the catcher, Navarro eased it back over the corner.
2-2. Emergency hack by Andrews.
Well, that time he reached back and at 97 up. A lot easier to get around on 97 down than it is on a letter high fastball upstairs at that velocity. He doesn't like the baseball, so he says to David Rackley, give me another one. Normally that's indicative of a slider forthcoming. You don't like the seams for whatever reason, and we'll see how it plays out with this pitch.
Set up outside. In the air. Center field. Austin Jackson inning over. Trying to salt it away, Chuck. Thank you. Look forward to the post-game report. Tyler Saladino first against Alex Claudio here in the 8th. Draft weekend coming up. Got a little drafty up here in the booth when you turned off that space heater.
Well, you could have certainly used it in the late innings.
Overall, beautiful day for baseball here at U.S. Cellular Field.
Right now the temperature has moved up to 74 degrees. Wind has kicked up a bit from when we opened this one, but once again, some stellar defense and some very, very timely pitching today.
Strike 3 for Claudio. By the way, the Sox are leading this game, and the top of the card, first 3, 0 for 11 Bottom of the order has been very successful this year, driving in runs.
Unfortunately, Yanner Navarro inhabits the 8th spot, and he's driven in a couple of runs in his perfect day. Jose looking for his first hit of the day.
Strike one. Sox are on the verge of going 5-2 on this homestand. Abreu just one hit in this series, the game winner. 2 hits in the Angels series, a 3-hit homestand for Jose Abreu. The Sox are closing in on 5-2. How about another hit for Jose? Inside outs it into right field. He's chugging for 2, and he's there.
Pretty good plan against Claudio, because Claudio likes to keep the ball away to the right-hand hitters, and Jose goes that way. Moreland well off the line, so a somewhat inside-out swing, and he takes it by Moreland. Then he has to outrun the arm of Mazzara, who's got a pretty good arm, but a long run to get to the ball. That's a huge insurance run out at second base.
Todd Frazier, the batter. 1 for 2, single walk. Strike one.
Claudio slings the ball from a sidearm and sometimes a little lower than that angle. That particular changeup, 18-mile-an-hour disparity between his fastball and his change, and now Nicholas going out. He wants a word with him.
By the way, this day in 1901 in baseball history at the Chicago Cricket Club. You have pictures from that day, don't you?
I do.
Yeah. First American League game ever between the White Sox and the Cleveland Blues.
I wonder if the White Sox entertain the Cleveland Spiders very often. Spiders one year won 42 games, I believe.
Ooh. A talented crew.
Oh, yes.
Beltre backing up. Long throw on the money. 2 out.
Adrian for a third baseman, and most of the great throwing third basemen always throw from straight over the top. Adrian gets off the throw from all different angles, and it's usually right on the money, because he had to retreat that time on the high chopper, and still got it over there in plenty of time.
Two out. Melky Cabrera trying to expand the lead by at least one more with David Robertson in that 9th inning. Sox will be in Toronto tomorrow. Team will leave after this game. 6:07 local time here, 7:07 Eastern. Sox and Blue Jays. You have your passport? You ready?
I'm ready to go.
Good.
Going north of the border, getting a chance to work away games with you, which is something that we haven't done, and then Hawk will join us in Baltimore for the final 4 of this 7-game road trip.
Have a couple of crab cakes for me, right?
I will, wishing that you could actually eat them.
Well, I can. It'd just be very dangerous. Strike 2 on Melky Cabrera.
Fortunately, I do travel with an assortment of colorful EpiPens, just in case you run into some shellfish. I agree with you.
I have 8 colored pens to keep the scorebook. Steve has 8 colored EpiPens.
Just in case.
Today, the purple one. 1-2 outside. 2-2 on Melky Cabrera. We haven't heard from our friend Rusty EpiPen.
No, but I think he's going to make an appearance.
On the road trip, you think?
Well, yeah, as we head north of the border. But his family's still in Helsingborg municipality, Sweden. You'll probably hear something from him.
Lovely place. 2-2 to Cabrera. No, sir. 3-2.
Melky almost went after that until he noticed it was about 6 feet outside. But that motion has a whole lot of distractions to it. Comes at you with a lot of knees, a lot of elbows, and so can't pick up the ball right away.
Ball 4, 2 on, 2 out. To be clear, your set's not fooling you. Wherever you may be watching, he does only have 2 elbows and 2 legs, which just looks like more coming home.
It looks like more, and then he gets into that crouch, which most pitchers don't employ, as Jeff Bannister looks on. And to save his bullpen, he has gone a long way with Claudio, probably longer than he would normally go had the entire bullpen been rested.
Brett Lawrie with 2 on. Ground ball up the middle, base hit. Abreu waved around. Desmond's got a cannon. Not enough. 4-1 Sox.
Another big day for Brett Lawrie as he comes through with his 2nd hit, driving in his 7th run, and as the Sox have done all year long. A key add-on run late, taking a fastball up in the zone, driving it right back through the middle. We talked about the fact that Claudio, because of a tired pen, is probably in an extended outing. And to this point, it's cost him 1 run, but what a big run it was.
Little leeway for David Robertson if he's called upon, and we imagine he will be in the top of the 9th.
Abreu led it off with a base hit, a double, slicing it just inside the line. And then Melky, showing some patience on a couple of changeups way out of the zone, brought Doug Brocail out of the dugout to have a word with Alex Claudio.
Seen a lot of Doug Brocail in this series.
Matt Latos, the pitcher of record, going after win number 4 in his 6 innings of work. Didn't have his great stuff, but only 1 run given up. Another sterling performance by Matt Latos.
Tough play. Beltre on the bare hand in time. Well done to retire Sands. Sox get 1 more to pad the lead off 2 hits. To the 9th we go, looking for a sweep for the Sox.
where they look to stymie a potent Blue Jays offense led by reigning AL MVP Josh Donaldson. Catch first pitch tomorrow at 6 on CSN.
Sox going for the sweep. David Robertson's out.
You'll be looking at some pretty impressive numbers. On for the 8th time. ERA 1.23. 6 of 7 in save opportunities. And he's going to take a look at Rua to lead it off.
Strike one to Rua, who's 0 for 3.
Normally you might think about a pinch hitter in a situation like this, but there's not a whole lot of people home, especially from the left side for Bannister.
Nasty pitch, 0-2 on Rua. You see how important the back end of the bullpen is with Duke, Jones, Robertson for the Sox, and the Rangers trying to weather losing one of their big guns, Keone Kela, who's been out. You see what that does to a pen as Robertson misses inside 1-2.
Makes everybody slot one move up higher than they normally would be. They're going to use Klein in the role that Kela inhabited. And the Rangers, still a good group.
Strike 3 for David Robertson. Nifty start here in the 9th.
Rua didn't like the call, but too close to take. Good fastball. Paints a glove on Navarro, who gives him a good target, and catchers will steal you an inch outside by putting the heel of the glove on the outside corner to the right-hand hitter. The glove extends a couple of inches outside. When the pitcher fills it up, most likely he gets the call, and he did that time.
Catcher Nicholas. Strike one from Robertson. Sox trailed 1-0, 2 batters in off a home run for Nomar Mazara. That was the only run Matt Latos allowed. High and outside, 1-1. What's it like being on the mound next day after a rough outing, a blown save?
For closers, you're not even thinking about it. I mean, he's going out there with the idea, he's knowing over the course of the year he's going to give away a few. But there's nothing really that any closer or any pitcher for that matter has except the next pitch. He doesn't worry about the last pitch. He doesn't worry about the last outing. He worries about this pitch and this outing.
1-2. Strike 3 again. 2 out here in the 9th.
Well, Nicholas having a word with David Rackley. This ball is right there. I mean, being a catcher, he'll probably take a look at it and realize that this pitch is right in the zone. See on the pitch tracks, that ball has the whole plate.
2 out, nobody on. Odor. Strike 1. Why not go right back there? Same location.
All you want for him is a fastball away and let him roll over it and ground to the right side. But he's going with the curveball because he's feeling pretty good about it here today.
26,000 plus standing up on 0-2. Odor laid off. One and 2. He got him. The Sox sweep the Rangers.
David Robertson, 3 straight strikeouts to nail down his 7th save, and Matt Latos 4-0. What a spectacular start. Today was a day where Matt had to really battle for it because the stuff wasn't as good as it's been. The second hitter of the ball game hit a home run. Mazzara hitting just his second home run. It was a bomb, and Matt Latos just shut the door from there, getting ground balls when he had to get them, ending the 5th and 6th on double plays to end the inning. And Matt Latos, if he's had a better start, I'm not sure when it was or where it was, but this, a great outing. And with quick hands on the mound to get himself a double play to get out of it. That one coming in the 6th inning. And David Robertson was right on top of everything. Good fastball away. Good fastball on the inner third. And a good fastball up and in the zone. 3 strikeouts, 1 save, and a wonderful homestand as far as the Sox are concerned. So you'd have to say that sweeping a ball club that was in first place when they came to town, as good as the Rangers are, this showed just how good the White Sox can be.
They're now at 13 wins, the most in the American League. A homestand that started with the Angels scoring 5 runs in the first inning of it. You thought, oh, who knows what's going to happen here? They go 5-2 on the homestand. They sweep Texas. Sox will be at Toronto and Baltimore before coming home in the first week of May to face the Red Sox and the Minnesota Twins. So 13-6, the Sox. Rangers down to 10-9. Dioner Navarro is our player of the game today. Steve?
Well, he had a good day behind the plate. He had a good day swinging the bat. And now we've got one of the heroes of the game today all queued up and ready to go.
Dioner Navarro with Sierra Santos. Sierra?
Dioner, you've been hitting the ball hard so far this season, but you got your first home run finally. How sure were you that that one was going out?
I hit it well. I knew I hit it well. But we're in the Windy City, you never know. So I knew I put pretty good wood on it, and thank God it went out.
Now you're catching for Matt Latos. His stuff is still under 1. How good is he pitching right now?
Unbelievable. He's just doing whatever, whatever he wants. He's throwing strikes. He's getting ahead of hitter. He's going to work, and he's doing a great job.
Now you guys had a really good homestand. You carry out this sweep with this series. How are you going to carry that momentum out on the road?
We just got to keep doing what we've been doing. Everybody knows here what they're capable of. Everybody knows what we got to do, and we just got to keep doing it. We play as a team, and we win and lose as a team.
Thank you so much, Dioner. We'll send it back to you guys up in the booth.
Sierra, Dioner, thank you. Sox win once again. They do it this time 4-1. They scored the final 4 games, final 4 runs of this game. I should say they win the 3 games against the Rangers with a sweep. So we say goodnight from U.S. Cellular Field. For our director, Jim Angio, our producer, John Walgren, our associate producer, Chris Kampka, our tech manager, Mark Harper, and the executive producer, Jim Corno Jr. For Steve Stone, Jason Benetti saying so long from U.S. Cellular Field. Sox will be in Toronto tomorrow. Coming up next, Subaru Postgame Live with Chuck and Bill. You've been watching Chicago White Sox baseball on Comcast Sportsnet.